This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is
Pero Let Me Tell You.
Dale.
And this is season 2 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
And this is
Season 3 of. And this is season 4 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Wow, that was a lot of seasons.
Thank God we didn't have to say them over and over again ourselves now.
That is season 2, and
that
season
is-
3, and season 4,
and this is
season
just
5.
and this is us tired.
Everybody, welcome.
Wow.
We made it to our
200th
200th episode. I mean, I think we already deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've put in for us to get the Kennedy Center honor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because I want that really tacky necklace thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mira esa cosa está fea.
I mean, I'll take it.
I'll take it, but
Yeah.
está fea.
I'll take it. I'm ready for the Kennedy Center honors.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, who would be our class, do you think? Who do you think would be inducted with?
Who to be inducted with? Enrique Santos.
Okay, all right. I'm down with that. Enrique Santos. Okay. Is this just a full like radio audio class?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, whatever. We'll think about it.
We'll think about it. Okay.
So, welcome everybody. We made it 200 episodes. There was no pandemic to
did.
stop us this time.
That's true. You know, and the government knew that we were doing our 200th. That's why they even lifted the mask mandates on planes now.
Yes, but maybe it's coming back.
But they lifted it for our 200th.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
So right now,
Right
as
now.
we're recording this on Fake Friday.
Exactly.
Right. So, yes, everybody, we could have not had. I mean, I know everybody says, "Oh, we can't do this without you. We can't do this without the audience." No, but really,
Yeah, we really couldn't have done it without you.
We couldn't have done it without you. So, if
we
you
could
are
have
listening,
stopped 10 episodes
so
in.
if you are listening, especially for those of you who are driving. When you have a second that you're stopped, look in the rearview mirror, look at yourself, and be like, "This is why." Pero Let Me Tell You has
This is true.
200 episodes.
You are part of the success.
You are. I mean, really, really, you are.
Yes.
And so, thank you. I mean, we'll give more thanks. when we finish.
This is going to be a very thankful episode, shall we say?
We're gonna do things a little bit differently today.
Yes.
I know.
Well, we've got cupcakes.
we have cupcakes and we have some champagne.
We have some little individual champagne thingies, and obviously, actually, I went to, so when I got the cupcakes out, of course, Publix.
Of course.
I actually had a moment there where I was like, do I get the cupcakes, the proper cupcakes, or do I follow the thread of your parents and get something completely like
No,
off
you
the
don't want
wall?
to steal my parents' thunder.
like-
That's another thing that has come out in the 200 episodes. Actually, let's pop the champagne.
Let's pop the champagne. Oh, look at us. We're like Mariah.
Well, we're like Mariah. We're gonna have splashes.
We're going to have splashes.
We're
Is
gonna
that
have
what she calls them?
Yeah, Mariah doesn't drink. She has splashes.
Just splashes?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean-
but how does that even work?
I mean, do you think Mariah would drink?
Well, I mean, a glass of champagne, yes.
No. That is what she drinks.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like when I hear splashes, I'm thinking like a shot.
I mean,
or like somebody's
you're talking
misting
about
her.
the woman. We're opening up our champagne. People.
Yes, this is-
You're
this is
talking
called
about the woman
vamping.
that when she went on Jimmy Fallon to do beer pong, she did champagne pong.
Well, I mean, I can respect a woman who knows what she wants.
I mean, live like Mariah Carey, right?
Listen, it could be worse. I mean, frankly, guys, the only reason we didn't do the whole suits in a pool thing is we couldn't find the pool.
Well, I actually thought about it because I thought about doing it at my brother's house, but then I was like, I can't ruin a perfectly good suit.
Yeah, we would have had to go like to a Goodwill to get like
I actually thought that. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm too busy this week, so it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
That was lack of planning on our part. Okay,
It was. Okay,
let's go. Okay, that was really anticlimactic.
anticlimactic. I thought it
This doesn't have a cork.
doesn't have a cork.
But we're gonna have some champagne,
Yes,
people.
we are. We're gonna
So,
drink a little
wait, let's do
Prosecco.
it. Let's do the cheers.
Salute.
Did you guys hear that? Let's do it
I
again.
think that's what you guys say. Salute.
There we go. So I'm not much of a drinker, but I do love me some champagne.
That's like the one thing. And again, as we've said before, it's not so much that you're not much of a drinker. You will have a drink. It's just not a thing that you will go out and do out of your own volition.
Because I'm cheap. Because
Right, exactly.
Right.
Because
So
it would
actually-
take like, a barrel.
So this episode is gonna be similar to like in the 80s and 90s sitcoms that had the bottle. What is it? The bottle episodes. That it was.
Remember when?
Remember right? And all sitcoms had this. Even Friends. That like they would all sit around.
I should look for like that the flashback music. Because there was always that like
Yes.
like very dreamscape music.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they would kind of sit around the living room and talk about stuff. They did that a lot on Growing Pains.
Grammys had like 4 of those.
Yeah. Ben, remember when you learned to ride a bike?
The garage sale episode.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is sort of going to be like that.
Yes.
So that reminds me, now that we're having champagne splashes, our 21st episode.
I don't remember our 21st episode.
So our 21st episode, listeners. First of all, if you've been with us since the beginning, thank you. Thank you for your
those were
support,
rough.
your patience, and your understanding.
Because those first like 5 to 10 episodes were rough.
Yeah, we're rough. But on our 21st episode, we wanted to make it celebratory because, we had made it to 21 episodes.
The podcast was legal.
Right. We didn't know if we were going to make it to 30,
And we didn't even know about the pandemic yet.
So,
No,
this
that's
was
what I'm saying.
2018.
So imagine.
The pandemic was still far away. And so on our 21st episode, we decided to have some Havana Club rum.
I bought 2 bottles.
Right, 2 bottles. And we didn't make it a point to get drunk.
But we just kept going.
On the...
on the air.
On the air. But somehow we did... And I believe it's recorded when at the end of the episode, I'm like, we went through 2 bottles of rum.
Yep.
And that episode was like under an hour, or it was about an hour.
It was about an hour, yeah.
Yeah. So it was even shorter than the episodes we do now.
So,
and we were plastered.
We were.
So much that like when we stopped recording, I ended up going on the balcony.
Because it was a Saturday.
Yes, I ended up going on the balcony of my house and what we were singing, or
I was singing and dancing. And
I know we sang the theme to the
to
Miami.
Golden Girls. Oh yes, Miami. Yeah, I think that's what you sang on the balcony.
If you guys want to
it was the worst production of Evita ever.
If you guys want to laugh and take a stroll down memory lane, listen to our 21st episode. Let me see. Actually, I'm looking at our episodes here.
It's crazy to me. Like I know obviously 200 episodes, and here we are 5 years in. I still just it's weird to say that.
Yeah, our 21st episode is called "Pero We're Legal, Let's Drink." That was
very accurate.
And it was the week after we interviewed Martha of Miami, because Martha of Miami was episode 20.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Martha's interview, I feel, was one of the first times that I felt like we had something going on, because Martha, and we're talking about Martha Miami here. Martha Miami has a really big following, and at that time, that we were sort of we were sort of navigating through this like local, and we hate to say the word, but it is what it is.
Right.
Influencer
are we
world.
Influencers? Are we? What are we doing?
And that's when we were kind of trying to like get our name and our brand, if you will, out there. Yeah. And Martha is like pretty legit, and she came on our show and she was wonderful and all that. So. That was great.
Yeah. So much so that when you're hearing this, some of you probably already seen the Instagram post with some friends who've sending us congrats.
You know what? I have no idea what's going to be.
I know.
I have no idea.
I know you don't. But she's in it and she's fantastic. She's that's the.
So
that's a spoiler. Yeah, you'll see it tomorrow when the listeners are seeing it.
I know, for the first time.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, we had posted on our Instagram earlier this week. Let's see.
Yep.
Actually, I posted on Wednesday for you guys to send us some questions that you had, and we got a lot of really good questions.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to go through some of these, and
better or worse.
For better, for worse. So, because we always have so much to say and so many points to hit that it's every it's fun
nice
every
to take
now
a break.
Yes, to flip it.
Yeah.
So. A lot of you sent us some questions, and we are going to take a stab at them. Right. So, ready or not, here come the questions. Right. So, where do you want to start?
I mean, we could just start at the top and work our way down, right?
All right.
'Cause I feel like a couple of questions are very similar to, like, who's your favorite guest? Those types of things. So, we could actually just start at the beginning. Mima in Cuba is saying, when are we doing a podcast? And you know what? We'd love to have you and Yoel on. For those who don't know, Mima in Cuba, her actual name is escaping me right now, but
Joely Mari,
thank you. Joel is basically like recién llegado from Cuba. She is very big on promoting everything that's happening on the island. They actually met on the island. They got married. Now he's here. And for those who don't follow her, you should, because she posts a lot of his firsts. And,
Are they here in Miami?
No, they're I believe in Los Angeles. Okay. So, she'll post like he'll say things like, I always dreamed of, going to like an American stadium to see a baseball game, and they went to see the Dodgers.
I'm actually looking at their Instagram now, and she has a sweatshirt that is awesome, that is red and says, actually, Cuba's a dictatorship. We need that. We need that.
We need that. Yeah.
Mari, let us know where you got that sweatshirt from, because that's. I've only been explaining that for how old am I? That many years,
since you could talk.
Yes. I've only been explaining that to people who think it's an island paradise.
It's a playground
with old classic Chevys.
Oh, I know, and universal health care,
and no Western conglomerates.
It's not been ruined.
McDonald's and Starbucks, because we don't want capitalism.
No,
right?
it's still
okay. I totally need that sweatshirt.
Need that sweatshirt. Yeah, you heard it, Mari. Let us know where you got it.
So when are we doing an episode with them? Cuando quieran.
That's what I told her. I'm like, well, no, you tell us. I mean, we're down for it. It's not a big deal.
I mean, if you're going to be in Miami, we could do it in person. Right. If you're planning on being in Miami anytime soon.
But see, that ties back actually to, so we also got a question from Robert Mojica that says, when are you coming back to LA?
Well,
so
Robert,
I was in LA earlier this year, but
we were
not in LA. So I'm down for one. Again, I can go whenever we can make it. I think ideally we would love to go back. We would, because of the pandemic.
Yeah. So when we went,
we couldn't go like we had planned.
We had like many specific things that were podcast related to go. We were on Spanish Aquí Presents, and when they were with Earwolf, we met Martha Darby. And we'll get to all that in a minute. We also met, that's when we hung out and met Daniel Leiva, the Olympian.
Fuller House.
Well, I was getting there.
Okay. I'm like
getting there, Fuller House. So what we intended to do was every year to have a series of episodes in the West Coast.
Right.
And if you guys recall, our episodes during that were pero let me Portos. Pero let me tell you goes west, and we had a series of episodes that were California based, West Coast based, and the intention was to do that every year. So, but then
life had other plans.
The world had other plans. So so whether it's this year or next year, we are gonna go back to LA.
Yeah, we have to.
We have to go back to LA.
If for no other reason, honestly, than just we have so many people out there that we freaking love.
We do.
Even Isa from Albisa Candles.
Yes,
I'd love to meet her in person finally.
Yes. We have people that we met through the podcast, and then we both have like personal friends and stuff like that. So I mean, we definitely want to go back to LA. And the thing about LA is because there's a lot of Cubans and Latins and stuff in New York, right? But I feel that
we're down to New York too.
But I feel it's an East Coast West Coast thing.
Correct.
I feel that being Latin in the East Coast is very different than being Latin in the West Coast.
Yes.
Right? It's not a right or wrong answer. It's just different. Right. And obviously that's something we were happy to tap into when we were in LA, because our podcast is, it is Miami centric, but the bigger picture is that is Latin Hispanic centered, but we do it from an East Coast South Florida angle. So we definitely would love to go back to LA, and we will. So Baba, keep scrolling.
All right. So the next question is from Fresh or Fresh, which of course is our boy Darwin. And this is we got a couple variations of this, which is, who has been y'all's favorite guest and why?
Okay, let's leave that question for the end.
Okay, all right.
Because that's a big question.
All right. So then, Giraldo from Spanish, from Siempre Palante podcast.
Okay, so he's awesome.
He is fantastic. We can't wait to meet you in person.
We've already chatted. I feel like we know him. We know each other at this point.
Like him and I are like texting back and forth. We're total BFFs at this point. So he has a couple questions. So he actually 2 questions. Says, so how many cafecitos croquetas y flans were consumed leading up to the 200th episode?
Oh, well, I can answer that question.
You can. Is this like your own version of the Seasons of Love song from Rent?
Oh, that song. That annoying thing. Cafecitos for me would be one.
Right. Fair enough. One.
Flan, there aren't enough numbers. And croquetas, who
Even
knows?
less numbers.
So the reason I say that about cafecitos is because I don't drink coffee. I don't drink any coffee.
The
I don't
most you'll do is like one of those like dessert drinks almost from Starbucks.
not even.
You've done like the Ariana
no.
Grande no sé qué cosa.
I tried the Ariana Grande coffee drink because I wanted to try the cloud. And I remember that
That may be the greatest thing. It's like, I want that on a t-shirt.
because it was supposed to be like 80% of it was supposed to be like this frothy, like
whipped
icy
cream
thing. And I was like, oh, I'm all in for the whipped cream. But I didn't realize that it was the base of it was coffee. And I was like,
What did you think it would be at Starbucks?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I didn't. There's a lot of things in Starbucks.
Okay, but
that
it's
are not
all.
coffee.
But for the most part, it's coffee based.
I mean, I have a refresher whenever I happen to go there. But anyway, many of you know that I don't drink any coffee.
Right.
I don't discriminate. I don't drink any coffee, not Cuban, not espresso, not cappuccino,
Not Turkish,
nothing. I don't drink any coffee. But I had my very first shot and my only shot
to date.
of Cuban coffee. Actually, the answer would be two because I
think you had two
with the Colada Boys.
Yeah.
What episode was that? That was episode 8.
That was 8.
That was episode 8.
Wow.
Episode 8 called "Pero You've Never Had a Cuban Colada." With the Colada Boys. And the Colada Boys, for those of you who don't know the Colada Boys, which you should, although they're very popular. So it's this group of guys
They're all
that
brothers.
they have an Instagram page where they go and they try different Cuban coffee in La Ventanita around Miami. And they're very nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're one of the few people who knows
who
they are.
They were
Like,
they were unmasked when they came here to record, and he was gracious enough to bring me coffee. And I, if you want to go back to episode 8, you will hear me having Cuban coffee for the first and only time.
Because I think he brought
he brought
two
one
types.
from Casabana and one from La Carreta.
Right.
And one was way better than the other.
Yeah.
Not enough to get me to drink coffee.
Clearly not. Yeah.
but even I was like,
have to admit.
Yeah. So I think it's so funny that people, when I say that to people, they're like, "What?" I'm like, "No,
It's not a thing.
That's in my list. You know my list at this point, right?
Yes.
List of things that I don't do.
Peanut butter and jelly.
I've never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay. Coffee.
With that
Well,
exception,
right.
I've never really had coffee.
We talked about this recently.
A meatball sub.
I've
had a meatball sub, but I've never ordered a meatball sub because I don't think it's a value.
You don't think it's a value?
It's like te ponen 7 albóndigas en un
So
pan,
good. I just love
and I'm like, no, I'd rather have the turkey club sandwich with
I just
avocado.
love albondigas in general.
And then the other thing that I've never done and just I will not do at this point is
play pool. Play pool.
Yeah.
That was the one. Yes.
And I always tell you, like, every time I tell people, like, I haven't played pool, somebody's always like, oh, man, I got to take you.
Let's go.
Go play pool. And I'm like, no.
It's not about... Like, I know where pool halls are.
Right.
Like, if there's the one down the street from you.
I've made it this point. I've made it up to now without playing pool. You are not going to be the person who's going to...
It's just magically change that at this point in your life.
So, so yeah. So the other part of the question was also, what has been the best compliment you received from listeners that really touched your corazón? Well, there's been a few actually.
Yeah.
We are very lucky in the sense that we have had a lot of listeners throughout the years reach out to us. And I don't know. I don't think it's one comment in particular. A comment that we get a lot in different ways, but it's the same sentiment. Are people that, especially people that have moved away from Miami or maybe lost a loved one, that them listening to us reminds them of being at home. of being either at home in Miami or just being around their family, for whatever reason, maybe they're not around their family, that when they are listening to us, they feel like they are talking to their cousins. Right. Están sentados en la mesa o en la sala, talking to their cousins. And I think that is probably the best compliment, because when we started this, we weren't really thinking about that.
It never crossed my mind.
And right, I think we both knew there was something we wanted to say, and there were points we wanted to convey.
But you never really know if you're going to connect.
Right, but I never thought that we would bring a nostalgic element to a fuzzy nostalgic element to that. Mm-hmm. And that really caught us caught. Wow, the champagne's already kicking in.
I know.
Caught us.
That's why it has splashes.
Because we weren't expecting that.
No.
And a good example of that was the lovely couple that we spoke with in last month on Carnaval on the Mayo. That
who we met at trivia.
Yes.
Initially.
Yes.
Because their entire family across all of the U.S., by the way. Yes. We're talking both coasts and somewhere in the middle, I think. They all listen to us. And they're
different generations.
Yeah. And then they all have I'm sure many of us have, myself, like a cousin group thread or whatever, group text, and they talk about us, they talk about the show, and oh my God, they said this, and do you remember when this happened? And it's and then now the older couple, they moved back to Miami. They're actually living in the Gables, and that to me was like, wow, these people, when we met them at trivia, the couple's daughter, I believe it was, they were just in town from LA, and they even DM'd us to say, we're making it a point to go to trivia because we want to meet you guys.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, it is.
Even when people have come and said oh, we went to, Dos Croquetas and Sandwich and whatever because we were from out of town and we came in and we've heard you guys talk about them and have them on the show and we had to go and try them out. Wow, people are listening to us. You know what I mean? It's weird.
They are. And, you have analytics. You know who's listening to you and where they're listening to you from. But that's a number. But, again, you sort of sometimes don't realize, or you have moments where you're like, wow, people are actually listening to us. And, and we have some very, very faithful, loyal listeners that listen to us every Friday morning, and they always post it on their Instagram that they're listening to us. They take a little screenshot of the little icon in their screen in their car, and it's
dashboard.
We don't take that for granted. It's very flattering that it's wow, there are people out there who come Friday, this is what they expect.
Yeah, it's Pero Friday, damn it.
It's Pero Friday, and also when we take our winter hiatus, that we're usually off for a month and a half. Yeah. We have people DMing us when are you coming back? Yeah. We miss you guys. When are you coming back? And it's wow, you forget the power that the podcast medium has. So, that and throughout the years we've gotten more personal messages. But I think that sentiment
that's the underlying
is
for sure.
Definitely one. So okay, our next question from 305 Pride.
Who check out their shirts. They got some great ones.
I actually love their shirt.
The Flandergans one that I was wearing in the video.
Yeah. But what I love about their shirt is that their shirt has the nice athletic fit that I like.
Oh no, the way that sleeve hit my bicep, I was all in.
Okay, I wasn't really going to that angle, but of course you had to stick it there. So the question has been, the first part of the question is, what has been the hardest part of doing the show? Where to begin? Where to begin? What is the hardest part of doing a show? Wow, this is a 1 hour show, so let's
we gotta whittle it down.
So, here's the thing. When we started the podcast, we originally were going to do it bi-weekly. Right? But then I don't want to say that I'm the busier one, because I don't want to
But you are in the sense that you
but I don't want to say I'm the busier one to discredit you.
But you have additional things going on in your life that I don't.
Right. And I was like, no, if we do a current events
and
podcast.
Back then it wasn't
as crazy as it is now.
Yeah.
Because now it's reached like insanity level, right? I was like, listen, if we do current events, we have to do it weekly because it just doesn't make sense to do a current events podcast every 2 weeks.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's old. But again, as we like to say, the COVID episode, by the time we came back from having dinner, we had to redo the episode because it was old news. And that was 3 hours.
Yeah.
Imagine
we've said this story several times. Remember that week where the world changed with COVID? Like Wednesday, the world was one day, and Thursday was another way. And then by Friday, all shit, like we had gone to shit.
Yeah.
We usually record on Thursdays. That's why we call it Fake Fridays. And when we record, we lock ourselves in the studio and, whatever amount of time it takes. And we were recording, obviously, about the coronavirus at that moment. And when we finished recording that episode, during those 2-3 hours that we were locked in the studio recording, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson had gotten COVID.
That was the beginning
NBA
of the end.
has shut their season, and flights
Disney
were
was
being canceled.
starting to close.
Yes,
yeah.
And I was like, okay, the episode we just recorded is moot.
It's old.
It's like that's
old. That's it. Yeah.
We got to re-record it again. So what has been the hardest part? We both have very busy lives, and we both have a lot of personal and professional commitments. I'm a parent. I have a million trillion things to do. I'm involved in a lot of things, as are you. And the hardest part of the podcast is the commitment to record, because we've talked about this in 200 episodes. We've talked about this several times. A lot of times people ask us, what advice do you have to start a podcast? And we always tell them the same thing.
Consistency.
You have to be consistent. If you are going to have an episode every week, you have to have an episode every week.
Even if you can't make an episode that week, record something saying, hey guys, couldn't do one this week, see you next week. But you've got to put something.
You have to put some content out. And we, rain or shine, have not missed a single episode. Mm-hmm. And we have both had some personal, setbacks. I've had a lot of times when I have not been able to record. I had personal matters last year that I was out for like a month.
Yeah.
There's many times when you hear interviews that I'm not part of because I don't have. I have flexibility in my professional life, but sometimes I
but
don't.
Not to the degree that I do.
And you do, so sometimes I just can't commit to an interview Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Right.
Whereas
I can because I'm working from home.
Right.
So I can take a lunch at 1 and boom.
Somebody does it, So that is the hardest part of doing the podcast, has been the commitment that we are going rain or shine or COVID. I mean, look, during COVID.
2 years of a pandemic and we didn't miss it a week.
During COVID, we did 2-3 months of virtual. You and I, you at your place and me at mine.
Figuring it out.
Yes.
Figuring it out like the rest of the world.
Right, but we did not
use it as an excuse.
Right. We have an episode every Friday, rain or shine. And that is the hardest part. That is the commitment is the hardest part. Obviously, there's other hard things to it. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and you do about 90% of them. There's a lot of. You could speak to that. A lot of planning.
At this point, I label myself initially when we started doing this thing as the producer, because I'm the one who uploads the episode, right? So okay, I'm the producer. But no, I think honestly, if you were to drop me in right now to produce a show or a radio show or a TV show, a movie, I could probably do it.
You are the producer, the planner,
I'm the talent booker,
the scheduler.
I'm the head of marketing.
When I open up my Gmail and I'm like, oh my god, look at all these appointments. My calendar has just got full from you went appointment crazy. Yeah. You're a talent scout.
Talent scout. Well, actually, yeah, because I'm always looking for like, who's the new like hot like Latino talent,
Technical support.
and technical support. I mean, yeah, no, you name it. I wear many hats.
Many hats.
But there's a beauty to that too, because I mean, I could sit here and tell you, it's not easy, right? Because obviously, I don't have a background in, engineering, radio, tech. My background is in marketing, and I feel I'm by no means an expert, but me defiendo. Like you
figured it out.
I figured it out because I didn't have the background, and it's not like anybody taught me necessarily. I mean, I went like everybody else to YouTube University.
Yeah. So there's a lot of logistics and a lot of planning to this. A lot of times when every time that you hear the show on Friday, it's you're hearing the hour and a half or whatever amount of time it is. But there's a lot of work that went into that because also we, a lot of times when you hear us, every time that you hear us, we're kind of like messing around and all that. But we come with a plan. Like we come, because we're our current events podcast, we come in with bullet points, with things that we want to discuss. As we've said before, I have my topics. He has his. We don't tell each other the topics. We have to figure out who the last soda is. So there's a lot of thought. I mean, there are times that we wing it.
Oh, there's many an episode where both of us look at each other and we're like, I don't have anything to talk about.
But somehow we end up talking about Diana Ross in front of a wind source. Like we did last week. When I went back and heard last week's episode, I kind of covered my face and I'm like, did we just spend 20 minutes talking about Diana Ross?
But that's what makes us us.
It's not like you and I are like huge Diana Ross fans.
Like no.
I could name maybe a one-hand Diana Ross song.
And if we include Supreme songs, a little more.
I mean, I thought that "Keep Me Hanging On" was by Kim Wilde.
You did not.
Well, the Kim Wilde version came out when we were like 6-7 years old.
No, I know, but
right. So at 6-7 years old, I didn't necessarily have.
Okay, you're talking about at that age,
right?
Okay.
I didn't necessarily go back to like the Supremes catalog.
Okay,
right.
Okay.
And my parents were Cuban. That's why I always say
that's
when I don't know something, I'm like, my parents are Cuban.
That's true. Because see, my parents would have heard that on the radio and known it was Diana Ross.
Right. My parents don't know Beatles songs.
That's true.
True.
But your mom knows Boney M.
That is true. Because Boney M wasn't part of the embargo.
Apparently not. They were bones. They could slip through.
Yeah. So let's see. What was the other part of the question?
The other part is what's been
the
most...
Do you have a favorite guest?
Well, no. Part two was what's been the most rewarding part of doing the show?
Oh, okay. So that's a good question.
I have an answer that... I know how it's going to sound when I initially say it, but then I have to explain it.
Okay, go. I'm going to have a cupcake while you give that
absolutely answer. So what's... To me, one of the most rewarding parts of the show is the fact that we've been able to monetize. And I know that sounds like I'm talking about, physical monetary reward, but
it's not Bitcoin.
But no crypto here, babe. But for me, because I have my background is in marketing and I was always in the agency side and dealing with media partners, there was something rewarding to me about the fact that I was able to put that experience and that knowledge to use for something that you and I were building. And that I was able to turn that and not just, I'm just relying on resources and tools that are there because I work at an agency and they can afford me this credibility. The fact that there are people, have been sponsors out there that have been willing to take a chance with us and come back. That to me is rewarding because it's like, shit, we talked about this a lot of times here on the show. I do have imposter syndrome. Many times, right? And especially when we're talking about this field of podcasting, which neither one of us knew going in what the hell to expect, right? So to see that happen, that was rewarding to me. And I know it sounds like I'm being materialistic, but that's not the angle. I promise that's not the angle that I was thinking of.
Well, because I think that, when we started, I think of any podcast that is serious about, growing and expanding the podcast, you think, how am I going to monetize this? Right. But when you start, it's like, who the hell is going to pay to sponsor us, right?
Right.
Like,
as we always say, we're Tuco Mamietas from Westchester.
Right, with reverb everywhere, echoey, bad audio, for like the first season. Like, who on earth is ever going to pay for a spot in our show? But that's been all you, boo, because I just do what you tell me to do.
I show up with the script and you record.
You're also the director. That's another hat. And I have to say, like, oh, actually, this is a funny story. So, I mean, whatever, we'll share this. So
it's our primos.
We obviously there's been sponsors that we've had throughout the years that we've reached out to, and Ishmael's done his magic. And then there's been other people that have reached out to us.
Yep.
But every now and then we get people wanting to do a sponsorship that it's like, oh, I don't know if that product is on brand.
Right.
And some time ago, we got this DM or this inquiry of this company that they did very classy.
Yeah, they were very nice.
Very classy. Nice. Adult toys.
Yes.
And I was like, and Ishmael like brings it up to me like very seriously, like this is what they want to do, and I'm like, Mira. I'm like, I know that especially that I think this was like our third season.
Yeah, this was like, again, it's not like we had.
I think we had only had a handful of sponsors at that point.
Now we've got the UFITs and the Lays, and right.
But I was like, I feel that an adult toy company is off-brand for us. I am not ready to go there. I'm like, no.
We're gonna call that the line.
No, there's no judgments.
No, but it's just
to that.
But you have to know your brand,
right? But we're not gonna do adult toys.
But see, as a good partner, I was not gonna make a decision.
I could just imagine telling my parents, we got a sponsor. Ay, ¿quién?
You don't know them, don't worry.
And I'm
no. They're classy. De consoladores.
Oh, yes. I could just imagine where that conversation was going to go. With my parents being like, pero tú estás loco.
The answer is yes. The answer is we are insane. Yes.
Yeah. But look, I remember when we got the sponsorship with Lay's, I was like, it's Lay's. It's like this is a national, international brand that is like on our little podcast. The same with like Café La Llave. You're talking about like huge brands, UFIT, that have come to us. And I say that kind of from the perspective of like, I still, again, with the imposter syndrome, like I can't believe that these people are paying to be on our show for us to create content.
They see the value in our content.
Right.
It's humbling and it's like flattering.
Yeah. So
do you want to know do you want to read our next question? Because it's from one of both of our favorite people.
Which is, pero when is the next live show?
Well, say who it's from. Call her out.
Abu 1905. That's one of our dearest friends.
Yes.
So when is the next live show?
We're actually working on a live show now for May. I was supposed to call.
Wait, are you telling me this for the first time on air?
I told you this the other day that we're coordinating it like the week of, I think, like May 19th or so. It's a Thursday. We're trying to coordinate something. We'll give you more details like by next week, literally, because I went to get the champagne and the cupcakes, I forgot to call the person that I was supposed to call to try and coordinate that. So short answer is in May.
Okay. We actually we've done a few. Well, there's two types of live episodes we've done. We've done live episodes where we have recorded the podcast in a live setting. Right. We've done it at Union Beer. Yeah. We've done it. Did we do one at Beat Culture?
We did do one. Well, yes and no. The Beat Culture one
in the brewery,
in the brew room, in the brew room. Yeah.
So we did one there. We did a few.
We did one at the Burger Museum.
At the Burger Museum. We actually do like doing the ones where we do in like live
with an audience.
An audience. Yeah. We like those, but those have to be a little bit more tricky in terms of scheduling because you have to do it on a day that people are going to come, but then our show airs on Friday, so then we're a current events podcast, so
we usually wind up doing it on a Thursday,
right? So, but then it's on a Thursday, and then who could come on Thursday? It's a
logistics,
little bit. And then we did the Instagram live.
That's right.
For the whole Black Lives Matter, the protests were going because I felt that for that episode, and that was one that I was very much with Ish. I was like, we got to do this because we have a platform and we have a voice, and I felt that was. I mean, I know you as listeners come in to listen to us, but I feel that was a subject that it wasn't about our voice, it was about everybody's voice, and everybody brought something to the table. So we wanted to have an Instagram live for that, which we did, and Luis Aguirre was on.
Yep, and
Daniel Leva was also on. So those were fun. Those were fun.
Yeah. We did one also when we were doing the sponsorship with Cuban guys.
Yes.
That we did an IG live. I think that was during the pandemic.
Yes, it was. It was.
And you were eating on your end. I was eating on my end. The Cuban guys.
Verdad,
but then we recorded it and we aired it as our
that was awesome
episode. Yeah.
That I remember because we were doing it at a certain time. Me like rushing home to make it on time with my Cuban guys. So, all right. Next question from Elizabeth.
Oh wait, we forgot one from Abu.
Pastelito de guayaba o de carne? Is that even a question?
Definitely the guayaba. And I'm going to actually amend it. Guayaba y queso.
Oh, okay. Well, she asked guayaba or carne.
I know, but if I have to pick between those two, the guayaba. But if I have my druthers, it's guayaba y
So
queso.
here's the thing. This is a good conversation to have. I love un pastelito de queso.
Well, yeah.
Because un pastelito de queso, when it's soft and warm.
Thank you. It can't be too flaky.
When it's soft and warm with thick sugar. It is heaven.
Yeah.
It is like a moment. Like Enrique Iglesias say, una experiencia religiosa. But here's the thing. As much as I love un pastelito de queso, I can't pick it over uno de guayaba because the guayaba is a classic.
And yeah.
I mean, I love me un pastelito de guayaba, but I can't. If you make me pick one, even though if I probably like the cheese one more, I can't not choose the guayaba one.
And thankfully though, you and I found the perfect solution to that by starting Pim Pam Pollo.
Yes, home of the guayaba and queso wings. Who likes un pastelito de carne? Like.
Maybe somebody who's iron
or
deficient.
you, that you like the coconut
I love
pastelito.
the coconut one.
Ugh.
I love a pastelito.
That's phyllo dough with coconut.
But I love coconut.
I love coconut too. I mean, I love Almond Joy.
Oh, I love too.
Wait, Almond Joy's got
nuts, but mounds don't. Right.
Sometimes you feel
okay, I guess.
All right.
All right, now we can get to Elizabeth.
Number one.
Gals?
What has been the most unexpected thing that has resulted from your podcast? Well, how I would answer that question would probably be related to our favorite guests. So I don't know. I'm going to leave that to a little bit of an end. I don't know if you have something.
I would say actually the most unexpected thing for me that has resulted from the podcast is going to the taping of Fuller House. I could have never imagined that as a result of that, that would happen. Because yes. Full House, it was such a part of your life and by extension mine. You know what I mean? That to me, that was just so unexpected in the most beautiful way.
Mm-hmm. It was because I lived out a lifelong. It's not even that it was a lifelong dream, because I think when you dream about something, you have a certain hope that it will come true.
Right.
But I never, ever in a million years thought that I would ever go on the set of Full House.
I mean, especially because it was canceled for how many years?
Right. I mean, definitely not in the first run.
Right.
Because I was a kid.
Right.
Obviously, all the years it was a syndication, it wasn't in production. But even when Fuller House came back, because going to tapings of sitcoms is not something a lot of people do,
especially here,
right? Especially in Miami. I guess if you grow up in LA or in California, it's something more norm.
Yeah.
But even when you go on vacation somewhere, you don't hear people being like, "Oh, I went to LA. I went to a taping."
Well, and now we know why, because you have to wait.
Right.
That's a whole day of vacation.
So it wasn't even when Fuller House came back. It wasn't even like something I really thought about, because it just wasn't something that was in my radar.
Right.
But then we interviewed Juan Pablo de Pachi, who was amazing. Como yo dije, I'm like, this is what my one shot.
Now or never, babe.
Now or never. And because usually when we interview, especially higher profile people, we don't like to be like, oh, by the way, can you
Right.
We've never really done that. But with him, I was like, okay, it's now or never. And I waited.
And they were also on their last season too.
I waited till the end. Yeah, we had already
was
broken the ice with him.
Yeah.
And I've said this several times on the show. He was amazing, and everything about that trip, again, when we went to LA, was amazing because, at first we thought we were just going to see the taping of the show,
right?
But then we find out that he put us on the friends and family list, which allowed us to go down onto the set, sit on the couch, meet the cast, and that was again. if 11-year-old me saw me at that moment, I actually, you know what? During this next week, we should post little stuff of like
Our favorite memories.
Because I actually was watching that video the other day of when I'm on the set that I'm like, I can't believe I'm here.
Right.
So that's definitely something unexpected. Although there is something else I want to talk about later. Number 2, what is the most memorable or surprising thing a guest has shared during an interview? That's a good question. What do you think?
So for me, the one that constantly stands out when I think of like those interview moments where I was like, oh, I'd have to say it's actually when we interviewed Andrew from Night Owl Cookies.
Yes,
because
we love Andrew.
We love Andrew, but here we are interviewing him and talking to him about his empire and this and that, and I kind of offhandedly said something to the effect of like, wow, look what you've achieved, and just like us, we know that your parents and your grandparents came to this country so we could have an opportunity, and wow, you've really done it. And he started to cry.
Yeah.
I did not. I never go into an interview making anybody cry, but I really didn't expect us, to go from talking about, building a cookie empire, right, to him crying, and that one always sticks out to me because, again, it's just like you never know. You never know when you're talking to someone what the most innocuous thing in the world that you could say could touch them,
right?
And trigger that moment.
That's a good one. Number 3 of Elizabeth's question. We all know how much you love Miami. For those of us who have moved away, how has the city changed for better or for worse over the past 10 to 20 years? That's a great question.
Well, the Palmetto is the same.
That's a great question. So
I feel like you are very equipped to answer that.
So I'm gonna talk about. Let's do the bad first. For the worst, traffic's been an issue here for a while, but traffic has just gotten unbearable. Traffic, I think, in Miami is in the same leagues now as LA, New York, Virginia, like the DC area. Everybody talks about LA traffic. The worst traffic I've ever experienced was in Washington.
Really?
In Washington, DC. That corridor of Washington, DC is the worst.
Oh, wow.
Traffic. Like, you've never heard that?
No.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Traffic has gotten bad. Something we've been talking about in the podcast a lot in the last few months. Rent and cost of living here has gotten astronomical. And I think that one of the best things about Miami until very recently is that it was a major cosmopolitan city, and I feel that there was room for everybody.
It was affordable
in terms of economy.
Yeah.
Yes, you had your rich enclaves, whether it was Star Island or, any of those areas by the water, by the bay, the Grove. But you had your working class neighborhoods, and whether it was Hialeah, La Pata, Flagami, Sweetwater, Kendall, and there was something for everyone in terms of property.
Right.
And I feel that is quickly going away.
Yeah.
In terms of worse, the environment. Thankfully, we have people like Luis Aguirre, who has a very big platform, who's been very vocal about that.
And like Andrew Otaso from Miami Creation.
Yes, Andrew's amazing. Yeah. Andrew. There are people that talk the talk, but not everybody talks the talk and walks the walk. This kid Andrew Otaso from the Miami Creation Myth, who we've become friends with, and he's awesome. Andrew goes out and cleans trash from the bay. Like, he goes out
on a damn kayak,
on a kayak, and he picks up. I went to one of his cleanups one time, like over 300 pounds of trash on a Saturday.
Jesus,
I mean, you really have to be committed to do something like that. Yeah. And in terms of the bad,
Okay, we shift to the good. Damn.
Property value. Well, no, I'm trying to think about. I think developers in Miami have way too much power. Yeah. I think that Miami has a little bit of an issue preserving its history. We look at other cities.
That's not new, though.
Right, but we see cities like New York or anywhere in New England, and we're like, oh my God, la historia que hay en Nueva York. And it's like, well, naturally, these are cities that are much older, but you got to start somewhere.
They cared about the history enough to preserve it.
Right, you got to start somewhere, right? And knocking down a historic... I mean, yes, you can't save everything because I also believe in progress, but knocking down everything to build another glass skybox, skyscraper...
No, you were right, glass box. Yeah.
Is that really the answer, you know?
It's got to be a happy medium.
So how has Miami gotten better? Well, that's a great question. I think that one of the main things that, in terms of Miami getting better, and I think that we actually are an example of that, is that I think that in the last several years, through our podcast, through people like Martha of Miami, through Darwin with Fresh or Fresh, through so many influencers and people that we have met, that Miami, there's a certain pride about being from Miami, and Miami now is a vibe. It's a brand.
Yeah. 305 is a brand.
Mood. And there's a lot of different things that have contributed to that, from celebrities like Pitbull, for better for worse, to just our image in the media, to local people, making it a brand. And I think there's certainly a pride and an identity of what Miami is now that finally I think is authentic, because for so many years, we had an identity. First in the 80s, it was
Miami
Vice and drugs and Marimbero, which that was true.
Not a lie. That was Billy Corbin.
But that was not the only thing Miami was. And then I feel that in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like Puff Daddy had a strip club,
Yeah, or Will Smith.
With Miami.
Right.
And there that is certainly an aspect of it
to all of those,
right? But that's not what it is.
But that's not Miami.
But what's coming out now are the voices, are the people, is the culture. Whether it's the food or like the entertainment venues or the artists. Yeah. When we interviewed it from Cultural Fridays. It was in our first season.
Oh, yeah. Viernes
Culturales. She showed us all the art from all local artists. Vic Garcia,
Laura Chirino.
Who has blown up, And these are all local people with like a very strong identity of what Miami is. Yeah. And I think that identity now is finally up to par with other older, more established cities. So that's a great question.
That is a great question.
So... Jessica.
Justin Stout.
How many bites does it take to get to the center of croqueta de jamón? Bueno, I could actually have one in one bite.
I would say it depends on the croqueta.
Yes.
Right? Because like the little party croquetas, that's a bite.
Yes.
But if you have like your bigger ones like from Isla Canaria,
yes,
that's maybe 2.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I'm really happy of this question from Jessica, because Jessica... the person who wrote this question
just stands out.
Yes. She actually was a former guest on our show. Yes, she was for the Young Republicans.
Oh, I did not recognize her. I didn't recognize her handle.
And the reason why
I didn't recognize her handle.
To give a little shout out to her. Yes. In 200 episodes, I think it's been very clear what my political inclination is and what I think of certain people in politics. But, I also believe in being fair and believe in giving everybody a voice and finding commonality. And Jessica, I think it was in our second season, came on and she knew that I was a staunch Democrat and Republican and liberal, and she's a conservative and a Republican. And she was very gracious. She came here and we had a great discussion. And that's what it's about.
That's
really.
What it should be about.
And she was a class act. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, so Gio's got a couple questions. Okay. GeoCX1. The first one, I actually kind of have an answer to. When will you ever interview any of the cast members of Que Pasa USA?
That's like the Holy Grail.
That is the Holy Grail. And it's funny because I was actually in the process of coordinating an interview because they were bringing back Que Pasa USA 40 years later, which already had run. It was supposed to come back again this year. They've actually postponed it till next year because they're actually working on a new script. I forget what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Que Pasa USA The Next Chapter or something like that. But essentially it's Violetica is going to find herself as an empty nester, and Carmencita gets a divorce and moves in with her. So
wait, it's a different story?
It's going to be a different story, yeah. So I was actually going back and forth trying to coordinate an interview with the cast, with Connie Ramirez, Barbara Ann Martin, Steven Bauer y ¿cómo se llama? Oh my god, I can't remember Carmencita's name right now. It's escaping me. Ana Margo.
Ana Margo.
And Ana Margo. I was trying to coordinate something tied with the stage show that was going to happen this year, but now with this getting pushed back, my contact is like, look, it's coming next year in June. Let's revisit this. And
right. So we've technically had Barbara Ann Martin on the show.
We have had Barbara Ann Martin, and I've been working to get Steven Bauer.
We interviewed her, so that would be Sharon. Sharon. We did have Sharon. She wasn't on an episode. She was on a video interview we did when we were invited to do the red carpet for Amigos for Kids. Mm-hmm. I believe that was in our first season. Again, I know the season because of my hair. And I remember that my hair was in a bun, so that meant that was season 1.
That had to be season one. And well, I mean, we did chat with Luis Santeiro, who was one of the head writer of Que Pasa.
We did, and we met Manolo Villaverde.
That's true. We did. Thanks to you, I own some of his art.
We own some of his art, and we tried to get him on the show, and it didn't come together. Yeah. So we've actually we have with the writer and producer, with Sharon and with Pepe.
Yeah.
So
and I have Joe's phone number.
I mean, obviously, as you guys know, Que Pasa USA is sort of like the holy grail.
Yeah, it's like Que Pasa USA and Gloria Estefan.
Right. That's what it is.
We may just wrap up after that.
Right. And so hopefully we'll make it happen.
So we're working on
it. So Gio's next question. When will you guys ever host an official Pero Let Me Tell You party or event? We would love to. We actually wanted to do something for our 200th episode, but it sort of sneaked up on us.
Yeah,
it actually didn't sneak up on us, but it did. But it did.
Yeah.
But we want to. We want to have like a real party where we, the thing with this is also it's not only coordinating our schedules, which we can, but if we were to have an event, we want to invite a lot of the people that have made this for us, people that have been on our show, people that have helped us out along the way. So
you got first and foremost, we got to have Burger Beast.
We got to coordinate this with like a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, it's a production,
and we do want to do it. It's not off the radar. So, all right, next question from Gio. Oh, well, this is a good one.
Yeah,
tell us the backstory of how you guys met, and have there been any bumps in our relationship? Okay, so. I think we've sort of said this story a few times, but this is a story.
It's 200th episode.
I don't mind repeating. So, Ish and I met in the summer, let's say the year, of 1990. We were one.
Fresh out the womb.
So, we met at summer school. So, it would have been summer school before 6th grade. Why were we in summer school, you ask? No, we did not flunk a grade. So the reason we were in summer school is because, many of you probably don't remember, some of you weren't even born. But up to the summer of 1990, 6th grade was part of elementary school. Right. So elementary school was kindergarten through 6, junior high was 7 through 9, and high school was 10 to 12. And that year, they decided to change it all up and put 6th grade in now middle school and take out 9th grade from junior high and put it into high school. So our parents both kind of wanted us to go to summer school for a couple of weeks to kind of get a feel.
Get a lay of the land, yeah.
Yeah. And we did. So Ishmael and I were in Mr. Friedman's computer class.
I remember lots of graph paper.
Yes, of course.
Right.
When will you need graph paper again?
In a computer class.
But somehow we had a lot of graph paper. We were in Mr. Friedman's computer class. Why I was taking computers, I'm not sure, but there we were. And I distinctly remember him, and we were friends. He used to sit in front of me. We were friendly. But again, we were both in summer school for that reason. It wasn't academic, really. So I was going to be there only for a couple of weeks. And I remember you went to Hawaii.
I did go to Hawaii, yes.
So you would think that's where we met. No. The story would not be what it is.
It wouldn't be us if that was it.
So the school year starts, right? About a month and a half later, right?
Yeah, tampoco es like it was a
it's
year.
Not like, years later, we saw each other again. The school starts like a month and a half later, and were now in 6th grade, and we had classes with each other. I remember we were in math class.
Oh, we had Miss Woodard, yeah.
We had together.
Yeah.
And I believe we probably had another class, but I definitely remember you and I, Miss Woodard. And we started having the same circle of friends, although I wasn't really part of the circle of friends in 6th grade. But I knew everybody in the circle.
Right.
And him and I were friends.
At least you weren't a top cat.
I was a chief.
You were a chief, like me.
Our other friend was
a top cat.
Yeah. Anyway, so the 6th grade, we had friends in common. Him and I were friendly. We were friends. And we had completely forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
That we had met in summer school.
A month and a half before.
Which is weird because it's... Okay,
and you especially.
If one of us had forgotten, okay, but the other one did, remember?
No, you have a memory like a steel trap.
Right. It was years later.
I think we were like in high school.
That we were like, oh my God, wait, we met in summer school.
We met
So
twice.
We always say, messing around, that we met twice. We met twice for the first time.
Twice for the first time.
Right. As far as have there been any bumps in our friendship? No.
We've had disagreements, but I don't think...
No, but you and I have never
we've never stopped talking to each other or
we've never had
a blowout. We've never had a blowout.
We've never had a blowout.
Yeah.
I always used to tell you, this is worn off a little bit in recent years, that you had a power over me that absolutely nobody did. Because you could piss the hell out of me with one word.
And it's not even a particular word.
It's just the tone.
It's just the tone of any word.
Any word. Yeah. Just one word in a certain tone. I would want to fucking bash your head. And I remember that I would get mad that you had that effect on me because I generally am not that type of person to be a hothead.
I wasn't doing it to get that reaction from you either.
It's the sarcastic.
No, right. But it's not like I was doing it. Again, it's not like I even knew that I was doing this to get that reaction out of you.
Right, but exactly, you wouldn't do it on purpose. But you have that sarcastic side of you that it's like, I fucking hate you. Like, I hate you so much. And I woque say it because I'm not a hot-headed person. Right. I'm very rational and measured. That él me decía una cosa in a certain tone, and I'll be like, mother...
que te pata un rayo.
Que te pata un fucking rayo y te pasa una rastra por arriba. But no, we've never actually really had a fight. No. We've never had a period where we've grown apart. I mean, it's sort of impossible being that we have the same circle of friends.
Well, okay, yes, but for instance, you went away for law school.
You went away
to New York for a couple of years. So
I didn't do anything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. And it was still to the point where I would tell Rick and Joe if I go more than a week without talking to Darian, it's weird. But something's wrong.
Right, but I don't...
Because that's what I'm saying is we've just always been close.
I think that with the exception of maybe if we went on vacation somewhere or something like that, we've never been a week without not talking or texting or something. Unless there was something,
Yeah, no, not even. Because even when you were taking the bar.
But I will tell you this. I got really mad when you told me that you were moving to New York. I got mad. I was like, fuck him. I was like, que se va. Do you remember what I told you? I'm like, vete, just go. Get it over with, just go. Get it out of your system. And I remember you were a little afraid to tell me.
I was like, oh no.
And if you remember...
I know he's not going to take this well.
And you remember, not to get too personal, but Tristan was a baby, and I made you feel really guilty about it. That I was like, you're practically my fucking brother. And and you having a close relationship to Tristan is very important, and now you're not going to be here, and you're going to be a stranger. Do you remember that?
I do remember this.
I wanted to make you feel guilty about it. I was like, you are going down.
You know what? Whatever. Because there were times where I was even at Comic Cons, and I would send him, little shirts of, superhero things.
Whatever.
So you know what? I was always bien atento al niño.
Yeah. So I was like, when you told me that, I was like, just leave.
Just fucking go.
Just go. I don't want to hear it. Go. Go to freaking New York. What does New York have that Miami doesn't?
The Statue of Liberty.
And pizza. And Italy.
And Subways.
With the prime rib sandwich that
they don't have anymore.
Right. So, no, there really haven't been any bumps in our relationship. I wish I could tell you something a little bit more interesting.
Right? It's almost boring to say, no.
Yeah. And so next one. What is for dessert? Well, Publix
Publix cupcakes,
which I just had one.
To have one.
What has been your favorite episode to record? And what episode was the biggest surprise that fans like most? Okay, that one I can answer. So the second part of her question, we'll get to the first part of the question, and of what is for dessert. She asked, what episode was the biggest surprise that fans like the most? So I think it's my parents.
Absolutely. The cake.
Yeah.
So, your birthday cake, for sure.
You know, as you listeners know, we talk about current events and we do all this stuff, but we also give
share our
anecdotes
lives.
of our lives and stuff like that. And, you know, I talk about my parents a lot. I'm very close to my parents. And, you know, the whole thing, as you all know, with my birthday cake debacle, that my parents just cannot get my birthday cake correct.
For some reason, alam pingo bola.
They just will not get me the right birthday cake. And as all of you know, this year for my birthday, I sent them a picture of the cake from Publix. I went to the Publix website and I took the stock picture from the Publix website and I sent it to you. I sent it to my dad on WhatsApp with the picture, because you know it was a Star Wars cake, right?
Right.
But vamos a suponer that I would have just sent them a random Star Wars cake from Google.
Right. That's a problem.
Publix can't always replicate it for copyright reasons or whatever.
Right.
No, I sent them. I even put the picture even had the code, right? I told them half a sheet buttercream, half vanilla, half chocolate. And I even told my dad, just give the person at the Publix the phone. No digas una palabra. Just be like, mira, quiero ordenar un cake. Here you go.
That's not what they did, as we all know.
That's not what I got. And what I thought was great was that I can't tell you how many people were DMing us asking, did you get the right cake? What cake did you get?
That's one of those things where it's like, we loved that story and we love telling that story because, again, you and I, we have the history, right? Where it's like, ya son varios años, whatever. I was taken by how much people latched onto it without having that history that you and I have about it. Right. You know, and again, but it's what we were saying earlier, you know, we connect with people. Right. There's that nostalgia, there's that fuzziness. I don't know.
That one really, when people started asking, or other stuff that my parents have said that people have commented on, that I give my parents' stories, that was a surprise, because I don't say that. I definitely don't say that my parents' comments or stories. I just say it to share it.
It's part of our lives.
But I don't say it because I think somebody's going to be like, oh, you know.
There's the story. Yeah. There's the joke.
But no. My parents really are those people. My parents would never be on the show because, you know, they're the most.
It's just not their thing.
They're not antisocial, but they are antisocial.
I understand what you mean.
Okay. Yeah. So let me give you people a little bit of a synopsis of how my mom is. Okay. When my mom for many years worked at a bank. Okay. When my mom worked at this bank, and mind you, she worked at this bank for 25 years. These were coworkers that she had for years, right? Right? My mom never, my mom, they knew she had 2 kids.
She was married.
Yeah. They knew when my brother had his first son, and that's it. They didn't know what we did for a living. They didn't know anything about us. When my mom went on vacation, she would just take time off. She would never tell them
for a week. That's it.
She would never tell them where she was going. Nothing. Because she didn't want people to ask her questions. Meanwhile, I was the type that I'll be like, look at my slideshow of my trip to wherever.
During lunch, we're looking at the album.
Yes. No, that's what I would do.
I know. You think we just met?
That is how my mom is. So bringing my mom on the podcast, whatever. But with that said,
we still want to make Nary and Nary happen.
Riding with Nary.
riding in cars with Narys.
And then, Nary sons are... So, yeah. So, I don't know. Somehow I want to, maybe record them and them not know. I'll figure it out. But that was a surprise. So, what has been your favorite episode to record? So, when I read that, the first episode that came to mind, again, going back to LA, was that episode we recorded when we got to LA. That it was 3 in the morning.
their time.
Yeah.
So it was like 6 a.m.
Right.
here. Like,
I mean, that episode was almost live. I think when we finished recording it, you uploaded and that's it.
Like we're going to sleep.
People are listening to it.
No,
5
yeah,
minutes
I
later.
hit send and that's
Because
it.
it was like 3 a.m. LA time because we had just gone to LA and
I keep forgetting that.
I picked him up at the airport and then we had to like check into an Airbnb that looked like somebody had been murdered. You know, one of those complicaciones when whenever the day you get somewhere,
Right.
you're checking in and getting the car and one of those, you know, cluster Fs. And we were like, oh shit, we don't have
We have to record.
we have to record, but the show must go on.
Absolutely.
And,
That's our
we
commitment.
recorded at like 3 a.m. LA time. So it was like 6 a.m. Eastern time. And somehow we made that happen. So that was fun. That was fun. What else?
I don't know. Because I know it's such a cliche answer, but it's like, I love all my episodes because they're all my babies. But I guess that one I would have to say because I keep forgetting that, like you said, it was almost live.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you remember the thing on the floor where I'm like, they murdered somebody there? Do you remember the stain?
I think I've blocked it out.
I'm like, either somebody got murdered or seriously injured. And then they just put arribita. Because we were staying in this Airbnb and it wasn't in like a
no, it was
bad
like in the middle.
neighborhood.
It was almost West Hollywood.
Yeah, and it was in a good goodish neighborhood. The building was older, but it was okay. I mean,
It was like right off of Santa Monica.
But like parking in the building was strange, and then like the hallways were weird, and then there was this very innocuous stain on the floor that it looked like one of those things when you see in movies when somebody's murdered the outline of the person.
Chalk.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, something happened
We
here.
couldn't find the remote.
To open the gate.
For the TV.
yes.
Like it was just it was
one
a
of those
whole.
things.
It was one of those
So,
things. But you know what? That's why we can talk about it now.
And so yeah, that maybe was our favorite episode to record.
So I guess we'll go back to the question from Darwin and from some others, which is, who's been our favorite guest and why?
Yes. So
Because that's, I think, the last.
So that is a loaded question because it's kind of like, when they ask a singer, what's your favorite song, and they kind of don't answer and you get mad. If I have to pick a favorite guest, especially recently, you've heard me say this, it's going to be Gina Torres.
Right.
Because Gina Torres, I am sometimes we invite people on the show that I think are great, and we're happy to have them on, but maybe individually we're not necessarily a fan of theirs, but we want to have them on. We appreciate them. We want to talk to them. But Gina Torres I am like a diehard fan of Gina Torres, and as you guys have known, Suits is my favorite show. I bow at the altar of Jessica Pearson, the character she played on Suits, and again, I think it was a goal,
right?
Like it was very much a goal because she was number one on my list, and I am telling you, until very recently, I'm like, there's no way that this woman will be on our show. I mean, she's like a bona fide star. Like,
right. Like she's on primetime TV.
Yeah, she's not going to be on our show. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and not only was she on our show, she was amazing. And she even reposted us. So if you have to tell me, like, pick a favorite, I would pick her. In terms of, like, the professional aspect of it. But in terms of favorite, look, when we started doing this, we didn't, we obviously had goals and things we wanted to achieve with the podcast, but we never, we were going into uncharted territory. We had never done this before. We didn't know about the personal relationships we were going to make from the podcast. We never really thought about the friends we were going to make. And there's a lot of people that we have met. Not only have we met, but have become friends and family of ours. Look, Stephanie and David from Mamas and Merlot and the Geek Bro Network. I mean, those people are we are
That's
friends.
Family. That's
like,
family. They're family,
right?
Yeah.
And we met them because of the podcast. Martha Darby Martha Darby, like, I love Martha Darby. Like, yo le tengo cariño.
Yo le tengo un cariño.
Like, she's family.
Yeah,
like,
she's our tia.
Yeah, like Martha Darby came here to we met her in LA. We interviewed her for the show. Then when we went to LA, we spent time with her. Then she came down here to Miami and we hosted her. I even did like pork. Una carne, un lechon asado in the backyard of my parents' house, Miami style. Right? Then you went to LA and you spent time with her. Like, she's family at this point. But you know who I'm gonna say, and Darwin from Fresh or Fresh from the Que Vola podcast.
I'm getting sentimental just hearing you go on and on because like all these
Darwin
people they mean so much.
You know, as I think you said a couple of episodes. You know, Darwin is the type of person we don't maybe see him all the time, but when we do, it's like a hug and it's like, oh my God, Darwin. Yeah. But you know who my number one is? The nicest asshole you ever meet, which is Seth Burger Beast. You know, Seth and Marcela. We always say that he is a godfather of our show because Seth, Seth was one of our first Seth was actually our first big influencer on the show. I think we had done maybe 6-7 shows, and Seth has really helped us out throughout the years, both professional podcast stuff and both personal. And I love the guy.
I know.
He's the nicest asshole you ever meet. And Marcela, his wife, is absolutely amazing. And he's given us a lot of opportunities, you know, with like Ping Pong Pollo and like he's
hosting Croqueta Palooza.
Yeah, I mean, he's been amazing with us. And, you know, if there's one thing from the podcast that has come out, I would probably be the relationships we've made with people.
Yeah. Like,
really, really that. Because that's something we were not expecting at all. At all. So, yeah, that would probably be the favorite. Ari and Gio from Us So Wanderers were our very first guests.
That's right.
You never forget your first.
Although we did forget that they were our first married couple when we then interviewed.
When we interviewed Melissa and David Fumero, that we were like, oh, you're our first married couple. Melissa and David Fumero. And no, it was Ari and Gio. Actually, when we interviewed Melissa and David Fumero, it's funny because, you know, they've both done a lot of stuff, right? And we were there trying to be so professional and questions. And really, there was one thing I wanted. There was only one question I wanted to ask.
What was it like to film Honey?
What was it like to film Honey with Mariah Carey, David? I know they've accomplished a lot of stuff, but that's where I wanted to go. And that's why I left that question to the end.
So if he doesn't like the question, we'll hang up. And if he's cool with it, he's cool with it.
But they were awesome too. I mean, we've...
And on that note, I also want to give a shout out to, from Café La Llave, Danny Bellas, who has given us so much help and opportunity. You know, he's the one who provided the contact information for Melissa and David Fumero, for Luis Santeiro, you know, for just so many of the awesome guests that we've had on the show. And honestly, you know, I cannot thank him enough.
Yeah.
For all, you know, his help in that area.
Yeah, he's been great. We've been very lucky. We've been very lucky in you know, we work very, very hard for this, but sometimes you work hard for things and they don't maybe work out the way you think they're going to work out. We've been very lucky to have an amazing audience, like all of you listening right now. I mean, we really couldn't have done this without you. We've, as we were just saying, we've had just so much luck with dealing with great people. And we've been very fortunate to have had, you know, very significant people on our show, you know, big names that we never thought, as I said, that we were going to have.
On our little dog and pony show, like.
And here we are. So, and then again, you know, to bring it back to all of you listening, we really couldn't have done this without you because we say this all the time. I was sure when we started the podcast, I was like, okay, so the first week, all of our friends and family are going to listen.
Right.
The second week, they're all going to listen again de pena. By the third week, about a fourth of them are going to drop off. By the fourth week, the other half is going to drop off. And then we're going to be left with maybe 9 people.
Right.
And then, you know, we're going to like
Well, we tried.
We're gonna do maybe 20 episodes to not say when we gave up after the 5th episode, right? I'm like, oh, we'll do like 20 episodes to be like, oh, we tried it, and we had a little. Our run was short, but it was fun. Like, I was pretty sure that's the way it was gonna go. Like, that's how it's gonna go. Like, because 200 episodes later, here we are. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the end of the episode.
Is that the end?
No.
So yes, if you've made it this far, thank you. We will eternally be grateful to all of you. We do not take our listeners for granted.
Y'all get the last soda for this episode.
Yes.
I mean, let's put it out there.
You are our last soda. Thank you for listening to us. At the end of the day, this has been a great ride for us. As you said, we have made money from this. We've had amazing experiences. We've met amazing people. We have merch. All of that is amazing and great. And those are all tokens of success, I guess, if you will. But at the end of the day, that question of like, what has been what has been unexpected. The comments that we get from people, the fact that our motto is listen, laugh, and learn. The fact that we have something to provide that you can learn from, listen and laugh. The fact that, especially in today's messed up world that we live in, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this world, that we can make you laugh and smile, even if it's just for like a second, on your drive to work or wherever it is you listen to us. Mission accomplished.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everybody. That was 200 episodes. We don't plan on going anywhere.
I got no plans.
No April Fool's joke.
No, exactly.
That everybody was like,
no.
"What?" We're here for a bit. So thank you, all of you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being with us for 5 seasons and 200 episodes. And I want to say we're only just beginning, but we hopefully will be doing this as long as we can. So thank you, everybody.
And if you stay for after the end, you'll actually get to hear our most frequent guest,
Tristan.
Yes, make his 200th episode appearance.
Yes.
Bye, everybody. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. All right, everybody, and as promised, we have with us today, honestly, our most frequent guest on the show, Mr. Tristan Atticus Borges. How are you, sir?
Sussy. I'm good.
You're sussy? No, you're not sussy. You're good. Sussy's bad, and you're not bad. You're good. Okay, I got to ask you a question, though. How does it feel to know that you are the person who has been on this show the most, aside from me and your dad?
Call. Call means cool. I just like saying cool like that.
Yeah, saying cool like that? Is it because of the double O's? Like, cool.
Yes.
Oh, so are we doing ASMR?
Like that again.
Is that what we're doing now? We're doing ASMR.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do a whole interview like this.
So how do you like it to be the most frequent episode?
Yeah, seriously, what does it feel like to be the most frequent guest? The only other people
No,
who've
for
been
real,
on this
it
show
feels
more
cool.
than you is us.
For real, cool.
Cool, yeah. And, well, you've grown, since we started this show. We've been doing this now for 5 years, and you're 8 now, right?
I drink water.
You drink, well, that's good, because water is required for hydration, and we live on a peninsula.
I don't eat grass. I'm kidding.
No, so can I ask you a question about something that you were a little while ago? I don't know if you still are. You at one point said you were a pescatarian, right? For a little while there. Yeah. Why did you decide to become a pescatarian? I think that's cool. I think that's awesome that you made that decision.
Because I feel bad for the chicken roosters and the cow with the...
Okay, no, but that's really good. That's actually very mature.
But I need to eat more bacon. It tastes too good.
Oh, that is a problem.
That is the problem of being a pescatarian.
That is a problem. I feel you.
I tell him that 1 year that I was pescatarian, almost a year, that I didn't eat. Remember? I didn't eat. It was bacon.
Bacon was the downfall. Bacon, it's always going to get you, man. Bacon's always going to be the downfall.
Bacon is literally my favorite food.
Is it really? Actually, yeah, you do. You put bacon on, I know you like it on your burgers.
Bacon is the best.
I will not argue
Especially the greasy, crispy bacon.
that. Okay, are you trying to make me hungry on this podcast? Is that your goal?
Yes.
So, okay, wait. So what else do you like to eat? Aside from the greasy best bacon.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Everything that's not cebollas.
That's a great answer.
I'm gonna say that to people moving forward when they're like, "What's your favorite thing to eat?" And I'll be like, "Everything that's not cebollas." Period.
But you know what though? I tell him most kids don't like onions.
No, they don't.
That's something that later
Yeah.
as an adult you get to
Actually, my sister, who is a couple years younger than me, but still way older than you, to this day does not like onions, but she will use them to cook.
Right.
Because she knows that, it gives it flavor and things like that. But she'll cook, like un bistec, she'll cook it with a cebolla, and then she'll get rid of it.
I really want to say the word cook. Like, the way I said cool, like
do it.
calm. But
Do
I
it.
can't because it's a literal bad word.
Cook? No.
Say it.
No.
Say it.
Like, if I turn the double into I can't.
Well, but then do cook.
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 Right.
Cook.
There you go.
Have you had? I don't know if have you had onion rings?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, I have, but they still taste bad.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, anything tastes better when it's fried
Yeah, and battered.
and battered. Yeah,
True.
fair enough. And you put some sauce on it.
So just
Except
think
for
about.
bread.
So just think
Except
about.
for bread.
Except for
When-
bread.
When we started this podcast, you were 3.
You were
Now you're
3.
8. So hopefully, in our 400th episode,
Oh, wow.
you'll be. Wait, that's 5 years, and he'll
You'll be 13.
Oh my god!
You'll be a teenager.
Well,
What-
dang.
When we get to our 14th episode,
400th.
our 400th episode,
You'll be
You already
13.
have 40 episodes.
Yeah, that's why he was messed up.
right? Because we've done 200 episodes in about 5 years. So in
Yeah,
5
so-
years, you'll be 13.
You'll be 13.
and I'll be the parent of a teenager. Lucky me.
Yes,
So-
you will. All right, Tristan. Well, hey, thank you yet again for.
That was the quickest time I was ever here.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Well, you're my favorite guest.
You're my favorite guest too, my friend. That's why we keep bringing you on.
Yeah.
And that's why I like licking the microphone.
Well, don't do that.
I don't.
Don't do that. I'm gonna put cebollas on it.
I don't.
All right. Well, wait. I thank you for coming by again. Honestly, it wouldn't have been a 200th episode without you. So thanks
Love
for.
you.
We love you, buddy. All right. Thanks for swinging by.
Bye.
No.
Hold on.
Do it. Right.
Bye.
This has been brought to you by
ASMR.
Pero let me tell you.
Oh, and the fact that you started 4 years ago.
That's right.